Welcome back into the KDPG Sunday edition. I'm Rick Dayton. Here we are about a month and a half into 2020. That means already a very busy time for the people who are working on the 2020 census. Every single one of America's 333 million people, give or take, must be counted. And those results will determine how many seats, for instance, Pennsylvania keeps in Congress, how billions of dollars in federal funding also will be divvied up. It's also an opportunity for thousands of people in our area to find jobs and jobs that pay very well. As we turn to our second guest is Susan Licata. She joins us right now as she is from the U.S. Census Bureau, telling us a little bit about how it works. And also Jerry Micko and I welcome her to the KDPG Sunday edition. Susan, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
People have known about the census. Every 10 years, there's a counting of people. They know that. I don't think that people know, do you agree, Jerry, any idea how it happens?
No, not really. They just think people come to the door and count.
Right.
It's a little more than that.
How do you go about doing it?
It is a whole lot more than that. And as you mentioned, we have been conducting a census of population and household every 10 years since 1790. That's a heck of a long time. And the interesting thing is that it's a constitutional mandate. So it's not Democrat, it's not Republican, it's not even independent. But it's an opportunity for us to all uphold our civic obligation and uphold the U.S. Constitution. But how does it happen? Well, beginning around March 12th, so not too long from now, households across the country will begin to receive an invitation to respond to the census. So unlike decades past, where the traditional paper form would come to a household, you now have the opportunity to respond through early self-response, online or by phone. The neat thing about that is that that online and phone option is available in 12 languages plus English, as well as guidance for another 59 languages plus TTY, Braille, and American Sign Language. So we're really working to remove those barriers that folks may have had through language by offering the census in so many different languages, as well as the online and being able to call in opportunity.
So what you have run into, I think, a little bit, and we've written stories about it too at the Post-Gazette, is you need people to do this. I mean, this is not everybody's going to call. You have to, it's the old-fashioned knock on the door, see who's there. So how's that going? Are you anywhere close to what you need? You've got about, what, a month or so before you get going on this?
And it's going very well, and we certainly are still hiring. And let me back into that timeline to let folks better understand how one can become a census taker in the whole process. So following that early self-response phase, again, March 12th, the invitation to respond online or by phone, if a household has not yet responded, a reminder postcard will come to the household via U.S. mail. So a couple of those reminders will come to the household if there's a non-response. And then when we get into the early part of April, if a household has still not responded, the traditional paper form will come in the mail. It is only after that household has not yet responded, either online, by phone, traditional paper form, then a census taker or an enumerator will come to the household to do the face-to-face collect responses interview. The beauty of this is twofold. We want local people in local jobs. Census data is what drives over $675 billion in federal funding every year for the next 10 years. It's also what keeps our communities vibrant at the economic level. So having folks earn the money in the county in which they live and spend their money in the county in which they live is just amazing.
So you want people from Blawnox going to Blawnox and people from Bellevue going to Bellevue.
Ideally.
And that way they know their neighbors, they know the neighborhood perhaps also,
right.
And it's not a stranger so much coming to the door.
And what we find is that when we do have local folks performing this local work, response rates tend to go up. Now, what's really great is the competitive wage. So right here in our viewing area, these jobs pay up to $23.50 per hour part-time. These are flexible part-time positions, and they are designed to work around if you already have a job, if you're looking for a part-time job, if you have a lot of experience or just looking to gain some experience. So they are very, very flexible.
So what do they do? What sorts of things do they do? Are they the ones going and knocking on a door? Are they calling and making phone calls? What do they do?
So the census will not call for the decennial. The census takers, however, will visit the households that have not responded through that early self-response or through the reminder phase. So it's not like the door-to-door, but only those households that have not yet
So
responded.
you may hit 4 of 10 houses on a cul-de-sac based on who has already
Yes.
responded.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then there's also other phases of enumeration, and that would be group quarters. For example, dormitories, jails, hospitals, nursing homes, residential treatment facilities. So those all need to be enumerated as well. And we have a different process for conducting that. But the bulk of what we are hiring for, and again, boy, if you're looking for a job, we are ready to put folks to work. Training starts in a few weeks, and then the work begins.
You answered one of my questions. What do you do about hospitals, prisons, things like that? That's taken care of. But in this country, we have a homeless issue and a homeless problem. How do you approach that? I mean, is there a way to approach it?
Absolutely, there is. And, you know, we reach out to those entities, service-based entities, that folks who are experiencing homelessness rely upon to get through their day-to-day. So food pantries, soup kitchens, the food banks, our parishes all across the area are all working with us to help us ensure that we can do a complete and accurate count of folks who are experiencing homelessness. And, you know, there's an old saying that goes, the money doesn't follow the needy, but the money follows the count. So it is critically important that each and every one of us are counted during the decennial census.
Do individual communities have an accurate sense of how many people live there? Meaning, let's look at a particular town. They say we've got 10,000 people here. The results come back and say, no, you've only got 7,500. Is that something that you hear on a pretty regular basis, that they have either overestimated or well underestimated how many people are actually there?
You know, and the Census Bureau, because we conduct that census every 10 years, so we're looking at a census data from 2010. And so then when communities begin to look at, say, school enrollments, because children under the age of 5 are one of the most undercounted populations across the country and historically. Now, we don't know exactly why that is, but we do know it's true because those numbers don't match up. And as a result, the Census Bureau has created a program called Statistics in Schools. Because what we found is when kids are engaged at a very young age and understand the census, and the Statistics in Schools program has turnkey age-appropriate activities available online. They go home and they have a coloring page that says, hey, I count too. The parents are apt to remember to count the child in their census.
Jerry?
Well, I just think it's all fascinating, but really there's a reason behind it. For voting and things like that, states, electoral votes and redistricting and all the things that are done off the census. So it carries more than just, you know, what states would need for money and things like that. But
Sure.
there's a political thing behind it, although it's not a political organization. Your numbers are going to affect that.
Absolutely. And, you know, our representation in Congress is determined by the data. It's the population count. So if you're not counted, we can't have a complete and accurate voice. And oftentimes, folks only think that their voice is heard during election time. But census is a wonderful opportunity to be counted and, again, have that representation in Washington.
Susan Licata with us from the U.S. Census, and we're also going to pass along a bit of information for people who are interested in a job right now.
Yes.
If you are interested in that, here's what you can do. Go to 2020 census.gov/jobs. Pick up your phone. There's a toll-free number, 855-JOB-2020. A couple different ways that you can find out how you can help. And again, those jobs pay in this Pittsburgh area as much as $23.50 per hour. When we come back, we'll wrap things up on the KDPG Sunday edition.